This is the XO Defender 8, the new little sister to this, the Defender 9, and it is currently the smallest boat that XO builds, and we have it here in the Finnish archipelago to give it a thorough going over. Later on we're going to give you a tour, which won't take long, but before that, let's see what it's like to drive. I'm Jack Haines, welcome to YachtBuyer. There's quite a broad selection of engine choices on this boat. There's two single options, single 400 or 450 horsepower, or you can have what we've got, twin 200s. There's also a twin 225. With a twin rig, there's probably not a huge amount in it in terms of top speed, cruising performance, maybe a couple of knots at the top end, but we've achieved a very comfortable 45 knots today. And the crucial thing is that you can cruise at 30 knots just so comfortably and so effortlessly, and you're consuming really not a huge amount of fuel at all. If I just turn us round, get her up to 30 knots, we're into the chop here, trim her up a little bit. This is what the XO likes, there's a little chop, get that hull cutting through it, 30 knots, 2.3 litres per nautical mile, down to 1.5, now we're trimmed. Yeah, so you can see, that is a very efficient, economical cruising speed, and it feels completely effortless. And this for me is real XO territory. There's a very slight chop on the water, you get that hull out, get the really sharp part of the hull cutting through, and you just hover over it. It's so smooth. But then, if you want to turn, twist and turn, you have all of this grip on offer, and I'd say that is enhanced by having the twin rig. You really have very little loss of traction at all. It doesn't really matter how hard you turn. Yeah, those twin outboards dig in and give you almost jet boat style grip, and actually it's quite hard to hang on when you really turn it hard. Beautiful amount of heel, very controllable, it feels very planted. The steering is a really nice weight. Really nice weight actually. When you do just want to go on the straight and narrow, the boat sits really nicely. You can, doesn't wander around. We've got some chop here, we're just going to straight through. You have to learn to let the seat do the work. These fantastic shock absorbing seats. It's a very cosy, very focused driving position, and you just have to let the suspension do the work, trust it to. Between it and the hull, a light chop really is not going to cause you many issues on this boat, and everything falls so easily to hand at this Helm Station. You're really plugged into the boat. You've got this nice armrest here, means you can lean your hand on the hub of the throttle and really make fine adjustments very easily if you're really bouncing around. Obviously an excellent view of the plotter, which is, you don't even have to lean forward to reach it, and all of your major controls are a very short stretch away. The all-round view is also very good. So very big glass house here, so there are very few blind spots, excellent view out behind as well, and you can ventilate easily with the sunroof, which is an option, but it's definitely one I'd have. Obviously allows you to open this cabin up a bit more and crucially get a bit of air in here, because you're not always going to want to run with the front window open, and there's not a sliding window here either. For something that you just want to saddle up the toys, stick the kids on board, get out to the island if you're where we are, or the beach. You can beach it very easily. That aluminium hull's very tough. You can get off the bow very easily. You've got that sort of well of a foredeck. It works really well in that instance. Fast commuter boats, that's what the Finns do best, and this feels like a very good, very manageable, but very potent version of that. One last hard turn, why not? I mean, it almost turns in its own length. It's absolutely incredible. It is so agile. And this is an environment where you actually are following a route, often through the lines, you're weaving through quite narrow channels, and you can do it at speed as well, so to have that immediacy from the helm is really quite important. Often you test boats, the handling is good, and you think, well, so what, when are you going to use it? Out here, that handling when you're slotting through the islands at 40 knots, that's very important. Right, that's enough fun. let's slow down and have a bit of a closer look around, shall we? Typical fin boat behaviour going on here, and the XO is performing well. Lots of transfers. Hello, welcome on board, you're on camera. This is what you do at fin boat. You have to swap through. But this is a good boat for the job because it's very easy to handle at slow speed, very powerful. Bow thruster. And twin engines, obviously, plenty of oomph. If you use it on the single throttle, then that makes it a lot easier to juggle the power. It's all very easy. The original Defender was based on the old 240, 250 hull, and it really was basically a deck with a climbing frame on it and a bit of a pastiche that felt like it was just trying to look like a Land Rover Defender. This is a much more well thought out, cohesive design. You have a full width pilot house here, no side decks really, but they're very, very small, but you're going to basically just walk through the boat to get to the bow. Obviously the design makes it quite awkward to hang fenders. You can hang them aft, you can hang them forward, but they have thought of that because the boat's got built-in fendering spaced along the hull so that they sort of fill in the gaps where you can't hang fenders. This is a very simple aft cockpit arrangement. Throughout you've got this really nice grippy material that doesn't get too hot, doesn't get slippery, very hard wearing and easy to clean. That works very well. Simple bench arrangement here. This does flip forward. The only reason it does that really is to allow you to bring the outboards right up and out of the water. Most of the time though you're just going to leave that as a bench. Underneath my feet is a technical area. You've got the battery down there, access to the heating. It's a little bit messy really to be a really useful storage space. You'd have to be quite careful with where you put stuff, but it is a big void, and if you ordered it better yourself you could make quite good use of that. This one obviously got some fishing rod holders up here, and you've got this rack that runs around. You've got roof racks as well, so you can put your stand-up paddle boards, your any toys really you can stow up on the roof, and that really does buy into what this boat is about. It's a platform, I think, to go and do other things, not necessarily one you're going to spend lots of time on. It gets you to the place, and then you take off all the toys, you go to the beach, you go to the island, and you begin to enjoy it. Right, let's head on through. The opposing benches are a little bit dentist waiting room. The reason they've gone for these is because this does actually convert into a berth. That is a reasonable size. You can get two people on here relatively comfortably, but there's no blinds. It's going to be quite warm. I don't really know how often you're going to fancy using that. It's really very occasional, I suppose. Personally, I think they'd probably been better just to turn it into the commuter boat that it really is. Give us 4 of these outstanding shock absorbing seats. Make sure that people are really comfortable. That said, you know, you can fit more people in this arrangement, and it is better at rest than having everyone sitting forward. It is more sociable, but it's not a great way to travel when the speeds this thing can do. Sitting looking sideways isn't ideal. The sunroof, I think, is a must-have. It's an option, but really have used that a lot today, because you don't necessarily want this window open the whole time because you get a lot of breeze coming through. So just having a bit of natural air coming in through the roof works well. But the door is good because you can travel with the whole thing open. You can have this bottom section across and just the door open. You can have the top across, the bottom open, so you can play with that to get as much ventilation through as you feel you need. And on reflection on the way back in, there are some little things about the helm that did get on my nerves a little bit, as you saw when we were driving it. Generally, it's very, very good, but I did find that the keys are a little bit close to my knee and you can knock them really easily. The other thing is, I said ventilation is good, but I'd still like to have a little hatch here for the driver. Not necessarily even ventilation, but so you can call out easily through the window. You know, if you don't have this open, you have a way of communicating to the outside. A quick, easy manual mechanism would be absolutely fine. Under here, amazingly, there is a toilet. I think that really is going to be for when you're very desperate. It's not huge, but hey, it's there, and it means you don't have to scramble into shore to find the facilities if it is a bit of an emergency. But yeah, not especially capacious. And then out here you have, well, storage. So this is all lined out, really big storage void on gas rams. It's nice and deep, you can get loads of kit in there. Good drains around the side as well, so that's a really useful bit of extra storage. But then this is really just your sort of flush sun pad. And I've got to say, this has been a pretty popular spot today. It is a nice place just to hang out. Could do with a beer in this hand, or maybe these cup holders. But yeah, it's a surprisingly effective, comfortable arrangement with a bit of storage here. Obviously you've got your anchor locker here and some fender storage. That's a nice, deep, practical locker. So it's a slightly unique arrangement, but actually works pretty well. This is a boat that has its compromises. I see what they were doing with the layout of the wheelhouse, but I do think they should have just stuck to making it a pure commuter boat, because it is so good at that, and it is so well designed for just chucking all your kit on board, safely moving people around when they're protected, and getting to the island, getting to the beach. It's an absolute hoot to drive, and I think that really is this boat's trump card. Yes, it has its compromises on the inside, but as a cruising, as a driving experience, it's right up there with some of the best boats I've driven. I hope you enjoyed that review. If you did, please give us a like. If you want to watch more of our sea trials, click on this box up here, and if you'd like to subscribe to YachtBuyer, please click up here. Thanks for watching.